I'm Marion Kirtley, and I'm going to be the interviewer this morning for one of our oral history experiences. And this has to do with the servicemen and women of Montgomery County who served in World War II. Now, we know that we have people in other wars, but we're particularly interested in this because we're all getting to the age that if we don't say it now, we may not get it done. This committee of the Historical Society is headed by Gene Thompson and Mr. Wormley, and they have done a great job getting people together. We found that we've had interviews from people from all theaters of the war, both men and women, and we've had some people who served in the service area back here in the States, and of course their work was just as important as ours because they fed us and kept us going, made the things that we had to have during the combat time. Okay, well, our guest today is Andrew J. Robinson, right?
Right.
Now he lives at 809 Tuttle Avenue here in Crawfordsville. Tell us when you were born and where you were born, Andy.
I was born August 28, 1923, right here in Crawfordsville, Indiana. I was on Jefferson Street, East Jefferson.
Yeah. Okay. Now, as you grew up, your schooling, I understand you went to the old Lincoln School, right?
Yes, that's where I started. Shortly after, in the 4th grade, we were integrated into the Wilson School.
I see. Was it true that the old Horace Mann School was originally an all-black school down on Grand Avenue?
Well, as far as I know, I saw it on some of the old plats.
But of course, it was integrated later, and as a matter of fact, I took my manual training. Well, I was at middle school, but took my manual training at Horace Mann. Well, it's just taken a long time to get integrated, but hopefully it's going to be more complete as time comes on. Okay. Now you also, as I understand, did go to Crawfordsville High School for a time, and then you were drafted.
Drafted into the Army.
What time was that, Andy?
I was drafted in 1943, April 16th.
April 16th. Tell us about that. Where did you go for your basic and so on?
Well, when I left Fort Baden Parish, I went to Fort Custer, Michigan, which is just outside of Battle Creek. And I was there for about 6.5 months, and then we went overseas. We went to New Zealand first and stayed there 2 days. Went to Australia, and we were there for about 2 weeks. That's before we left there. We went to a place called Milne Bay in New Guinea. And we were there just a short time, and they pushed us off to another little island called Goodenough Island. And we were there about 8 months. And then we moved up again to another place called Maffin Bay, part of Dutch New Guinea. And we were there for maybe 4 or 5 months. And we're on the invasion of Luzon in the Philippines.
Okay, let's go back a little from time that you were at Fort Custer. You said you had your basic training out. Now, what unit were you assigned to?
I was assigned to the 4188 Quartermaster Group.
Were there companies in that group, or was it just the whole group?
Well, we had 4 companies in that group, and we were part of another regiment there.
I see. And what were your duties primarily?
Well, it's like I say in the United States, it was all basic training, but
right.
we went through rifle training and all that sort of thing. But after we got overseas, we were head of warehouses and food and clothing. We had to distribute that sort of thing, unload ships.
Were you armed?
Yes, we were armed.
What, did you have carbines or what?
We had the carbine. Right.
They're nice little guns. Did you ever have to use them?
Well, I never had to use it, but we had it just in case we did.
Right.
We're under numerous air raids and things like that.
Right. Okay, now, when you got your orders from overseas, you went to San Francisco, is that right?
We went to San Francisco, and sailed out from there.
Now, tell us about that ship that you owned.
Well, we were on a Dutch luxury liner. It was probably the 12th largest ship in the world at that time. And I'd never been on such a ship in my life. It was about 800 feet long, so quite a ship.
Where were you booked?
Now, we bunked down on C deck, which was the old crew deck. In fact, we slept in hammocks that hung down from the...
Well, you took care of the sway pretty well. Did you get seasick?
No, I was very fortunate. I was one of them that didn't get seasick. In fact, when we went to Australia, we spent 21 days on ship. Going down, went the long way around.
Yeah. How was the food aboard ship?
Food was good aboard ship.
Was it?
Naval men always eat.
Yeah, that's true.
We did have good food aboard the ship.
How did you have to line up as groups and go through a chow line to get the food? How about your exercise aboard ship? How did you take care of that?
Well, we had calisthenics every morning, so we're in pretty good shape once we got off the ship.
Was this in a deck area or was
It
it
was on the deck, right? On the main deck.
I see. Did you have any bad weather going over?
No, we didn't.
What time of year was it? What time of year was it?
We went in November.
November.
43.
Now, did you stop in Hawaii too?
No.
You didn't? You bypassed it?
We bypassed Hawaii.
Okay. Now, when you tell us a little about this work that you had to do unloading these ships, what sort of cargo did they take care of?
Well, we would go out and we had something like 12-hour shifts. We'd go down to the dock and we'd unload ships, and we had bombs on there, ammunition, food, clothing. There'd be jeeps and all sorts of equipment on those ships.
And now, as I understand, your unit was all black men except you had white officers, is that right?
Right.
Did they ever change so that you had some black officers later in the war?
Well, there were some black officers in some outfits, but never in ours.
Not in yours. Well, did this bother the guys any? Of course, they're used to it, probably.
No, I don't think so, because we were used to not seeing it. So
Well, I think you told me the other day that you were segregated as you went over, but you came back integrated.
Came back integrated on the ship, right?
Where were you discharged then?
I came back to Camp Atterbury to be discharged.
Okay. Well, that's where I got. Were you given a leave with pay at that time? For the time?
No, we got out. We just came right on out. We had our mustering out pay, but that's
about
it.
Okay. Now, I think we ought to go. What I'd like to do, Andy, is just get your opinion about some of these things. Black soldiers have been badly treated through the years. We know that. And yet, the first black man killed in the Revolution was Crispus Attucks. Isn't that right?
Right.
And he was a free man, and he served in the Revolutionary War. And then, of course, as we're going down to the War of 1812, I understand there were a few black sailors who were aboard ship. Of course, I'm afraid they served as servants more, but they were assigned to ships in the War of 1812. And, of course, in the Civil War, I tell you that some of these men did a wonderful job. Of course, you remember the famous 54th Colored Massachusetts Regiment. You've heard of that outfit.
Yeah.
They fought at Fort Wagner down in South Carolina and did a wonderful job. I think several of those men earned high honors because of the work that they did. And yet, they were not given the type of credit that we think they should have had. And then, of course, many of the former slaves joined the Army after the Civil War, and many of those served in the West as, they called them pony soldiers. They were
Right.
at one of the forts in Fort Riley, I believe, and another fort. These regiments were given recognition for the work that they did. They're just now getting recognition for the work that they did.
It's quite a long time.
It took a long time. Okay. Well, now, how about in World War II? Now, of course, there were at the beginning of the war that we had the same kind of segregation like you experienced,
Right.
and it wasn't until Vietnam that it really changed. And I believe that we maybe give President Truman credit for doing a lot of the things in the way of desegregation. Isn't that true?
Yes, but I think it really started in probably the Korean War.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Well, we've left that one out. Yeah, there's a lot of it was integration right at that time. That's good. Okay. Okay. Now, how about the illnesses that you had? Did you have any troubles where that was concerned?
No, I was never actually ill, although I had some of that, we called it jungle rot on my finger.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was in good health all the time.
You didn't get malaria?
No, I never got malaria.
Why?
Because I was one of the guys that took his Atabrine tablets every day.
That's right. A lot of people didn't do it.
Lots of them, they didn't. They just throw them away, you know.
How about dengue fever? Did many of your fellows have that?
No, we didn't have too much of malaria or anything in our outfit. I think there were maybe 2 guys that might have had malaria. But other than that, we did pretty good.
Have you ever contacted any of your old war buddies?
I saw 2 of them since I've been back. There was a fellow named Bert Pettiford that lived in Marion, Indiana. And I think there was another guy that I've come in contact with in Kentucky. But other than that, I haven't.
You haven't had any outfit reunions or anything like that?
No. I guess we just went our own separate ways and just never thought more about it. That's kind of strange, though.
Yes, it is. Well, I don't know. Sometimes somebody has to take the initiative of getting things going as far as reunions are concerned. Somebody lead the way.
But we're from all parts of the country, you know.
Sure you were.
From California to New York.
Yeah.
And the South. And it's everywhere.
Well, you get an idea of how people lived in these various parts of the United States,
Right.
didn't you? Right. Okay. Now, how about Fort Moresby? Were you there in the beginning for a while? Port Moresby.
I was never in Fort Moresby itself. I've heard of it and everything.
I see.
We spent 9-10 months in New Guinea. So I was there quite a while.
Yeah.
I was never at Fort Moresby. I think it was the sound of a place they sent people for I don't know, no, I guess it wasn't.
What, rest and rehabilitation? You mean?
I thought maybe,
A rest area?
yeah, but I don't think Fort Moresby was one of them.
Yeah. Okay, then after you got out of the service, is this when you started working for Montgomery Ward?
Right.
And how long were you with them?
I was with them 8.5 years.
8.5 years. And then what did you do?
Then I went to Ray Bestis product company, and I spent 36 years there.
36. Just retired from there, really?
I just retired last year.
Oh, that's wonderful. When did you meet your good wife? Jasmine.
I met her back in 1946.
Oh, long time ago.
Well, actually, before that, it must have been, maybe just before the war. I probably met her. Probably around 40 or somewhere there before I went in.
Was she a local girl?
No, she's from Greencastle.
Greencastle.
But we were in the Boy Scouts here and the Girl Scouts there, so
Great.
sometimes we get together.
What troop were you in here? You remember?
Well, I don't remember
the church groups with it?
No, I don't remember just what the.
That's been a long time. Go ahead.
It's so long ago.
Well, Jasmine's been very active in the college, hasn't she? She just retired.
He just retired last year, too. Last May.
Well, she was a patient of mine for a while, you know.
Yes, I knew that.
Well, and I guess you You told me that you know my son Sam too, and my grandson.
Right.
Yeah.
We played tennis and stuff together.
That's great. Well, it's been a great thing to have these close relationships. And can you think of anything else, Amy, now that we ought to add to this epistle?
Well, I was going to say, when we left the Philippines, we were down in Manila, and we're getting a task force ready to invade Japan. And just about the time the surrender came in. In fact, I was in Manila when that plane came in with the Japanese dignitaries on it to sign.
Well, tell us about that.
Well, I was just there, but I didn't get a chance to see any of it.
Okay.
So after we left Manila, we did go to Japan, and I got to spend 4 months there. And we were an occupational troop, we just did guard duties, and that's about it.
Well, you know, that surrender of the Japanese in the Philippines, strangely enough, last week at the homecoming, Dr. Y.B. Hall, retired dentist from Lafayette, who's a Newmarket boy, told me that he could look over where they were standing around when that ceremony took place in the Philippines, and he took some pictures of the people there. And he even spoke to the Japanese commander, who spoke to him later about it. So
now, I didn't get to see that, but we were down there.
You guys were there at the same time, weren't you?
We were getting ready to board ship, but really.
Well, I'm glad we didn't have to go to Japan.
As a fighting unit, anyway.
That's right. Yeah, right. Well, were you aware of the dropping of the atomic bomb? How did you get news?
Yes, we got that in the news. We got that in our newspaper. And we were all amazed because we'd never heard of the atomic bomb, you know. We were in the Philippines at the time.
Yes,
when
right.
That news came through.
Were you? I'm sure you were relieved as we were that you didn't have to go on with the thing after that. All right. Well, Andy, I tell you, we certainly enjoyed your interview here today, and we wish you the best of luck, you and Jasmine. And, oh, by the way, do you have children?
We have one girl, a school teacher in the San Francisco area. She lives in Sunnyvale and teaches in San Francisco.
Do you get to see her now and then?
In fact, we're getting ready to go out this Thanksgiving.
Oh, great.
Spend a week with her.
That's fine. Well, we're happy to see her children. Does she have any children? Is she married?
No, she's not married now. She doesn't have children.
Okay. Well, Andy, thanks so much for your kindness.
You're welcome. I can help out in it.
Well, you did. You sure did. Thank you.